Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to do a beer that should be really quite interesting actually, and it's a bit of a new chapter when it comes to this brewery I guess. So for this one we're going to do a beer that's kind of Danish but also kind of American. So we're going to return to Mikkeller, who are the famous Danish gypsy brewery originally from Copenhagen, but this is one of the beers that they've brewed at their San Diego site, so it goes by the name Mikkeller San Diego, and this one is the Beer Geek Brunch. So it's an Imperial Stout brewed with coffee, and it comes in at 10.9%. I believe this is a special version of the Beer Geek series that they actually do primarily brew over there. Of course, the famous one is the Beer Geek Brunch Weasel, and that's one that I really do hope that I can try in the future, but I've just never come across it actually, so hopefully it's one that I can get through Kiosk when I do get back out to Sweden to live. So I need to talk to Karsten about that to keep me a bottle of the beer. But looking forward to this one, and I'm sure it will be pretty good. It was rated really highly. It had a 99 overall in Rate Beer, and I think it was a 93 within the style, and it was well into the 4 stars when I checked out on Untappd as well. So looking forward to this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Mikkeller before. There's probably going to be a lot more added to that in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and look for videos based on country, city, state, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you, and one for the American ones as well. I'm not sure if we'll put this in the American playlist for you, but we'll wait and see about that. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Mikkeller then before we open up the beer. So these guys, of course, are the famous Danish gypsy brewery, and they were founded by Christian Keller, who was a journalist, and Mikkel Bjergso, who was a physics and math teacher, although now it's run exclusively by Bjergso. And again, these guys are very influenced by the American craft beer movement, and they basically started out as the homebrewing experimentation of Christian and Mikkel, and they grew from there. There was a big homebrewing group in Copenhagen, and that gave birth to Toil, to Mikkeller, and also to Evil Twin as well. Evil Twin, of course, is run by Mikkel's brother Jeppe. But for a long time these guys didn't have their own brewery, but rather they brewed their beer at a variety of host breweries, mainly in America. Some of it was brewed in Norway as well. Brewdog in Scotland were brewing quite a few of their beers for a time, and most of their beer is actually brewed at the De Proef Brouwerij in Locriste Heefte, which is kind of close to Ghent in the southern part of Belgium. But their home base as such is the Mikkeller bar in Copenhagen, and they also have a collaboration bar in the city with Toil as well. And the guys who run Toil, Tore Gainter, and I forget what the other guy's name is, but they were actually students of Mikkel's, and they used to brew together in the school kitchens during the night. But in April 2016 these guys took over AleSmith's former brewery in San Diego after they moved to a larger space, and in 2017 they also announced that they're going to establish a second brewery over in America, which is going to be at Citi Field, home of the New York Mets in New York City. And they also have a location in Copenhagen as well called Baghaven now, which is where they're starting to experiment with sour beers. So it's kind of a cool way to do it actually. These guys have been a long established brewery, they've brewed their beer, they've done the gypsy brewing thing, and now they are actually starting to establish their own facilities as well. So it's kind of cool to see that they've kind of gone sort of full circle and got their own brewery now. But I think the gypsy brewing method, it's quite popular in Poland with the contract brewers and things like that, and of course Poland is producing some bloody awesome beer. It is cool to see that it kind of allows the companies to eventually go full circle and establish their own breweries. But these guys have got various bars around the world as well. There's ones in Barcelona, there's Berlin, Warsaw, Bucharest, Stockholm, Reykjavik in Iceland, Tórshavn in the Faroe Islands, there's Tokyo, Seoul, Taipei, Singapore. They've got various different ones in Copenhagen as well. There's RampantLionReviews, there's Warpigs as well. I really recommend that you check out those two places, and they've also got various locations in San Diego and in Bangkok in Thailand as well. So you can always go around the world and try some of these different Mikkeller beers. And as I said, these guys are probably the best known Danish craft brewery these days actually. So if you haven't tried some of their beers, I do recommend that you have a go at them as well. And as I say, Toil are quite closely associated with these guys, and they have their bar called Bruce in the city as well now, which is pretty cool, and they are brewing some beers there as well. So make sure you try some of the Mikkeller beers and some of the Toil ones if you get the chance. Two of the best known Danish craft breweries. Copenhagen, of course, is one of the best best known beer cities in the world these days, so do make sure you have a look at that and check it out at some time, because it's a wonderful place. I really, really love it, and I'm glad that I live very, very close to it. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So like I mentioned to you, this one is a 10.9% Imperial Stout, the Beer Geek Brunch. You can see there the badge for this one, the San Diego Mikkeller badge there, is a little bit different from what they usually put on their beers. You can see Imperial Stout brewed with coffee, 10.9%, and you can see the cat just kind of sitting there underneath, kind of scratching the walls because it wants more of the stout. But yeah, it looks really, really nice, this beer. So yeah, I guess without further ado then, let's get stuck into this one and see how we get on. 10.9% Imperial Stout from Mikkeller San Diego. Oh, and you can smell a little bit of that coffee and fruity notes as you kind of open the beer up as well. So yeah, that looks really nice. Just look how oily this beer is actually. Really, really good looking beer. So yeah, as you can see, and as you would expect from the Imperial Stout, it's a dark ebony rosewood colour, this one. The coffee notes and the chocolate that's coming off this beer is amazing actually. It's really, really nice. You can see there's a solid 2/3 or maybe just under a finger of head on this one. That's a dark, nice, almost coffee, sort of tanny head that's on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a couple of little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. But overall, it looks really, really nice. That's a lovely, lovely looking beer, this one. So yeah, looks absolutely lovely, and pretty much as you would expect from a nice big Imperial Stout. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. Oh yeah. So with this one, it's really bloody good. I mean, the aroma of this, it's got this nice kind of, there's a little bit of a brown bready quality just to kind of underpin it, but you can really smell the coffee sweetness to this one, and there's a lot of dark, high cocoa chocolate in this. It smells lovely. Just as I always say, take a bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of vanilla coming out of this one as well, which is kind of interesting. It says that they've put some oat flakes in the beer as well, which will smooth it out a little bit. But the aroma really is good. You can smell that lovely coffee sweetness. Nice little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot of chocolate in there. Some toasted brown sugars as well. It does kind of lean a little bit more towards the kind of treacly side of things rather than being a straight up sweet caramel. The chocolate though is quite sweet, although you can tell at the same time that it's kind of high cocoa chocolate. But it smells really good, this one. You can get a little bit of the earthy hop, and there's a wee bit of a red fruity ester to this one. To me, it's a sort of raisin plummy kind of thing. It does have a little bit of that sharpness to it, to be honest. But of course, as you would expect with this beer, the aroma is completely dominated by the malty aspects of the beer. But it smells so good. The smoothness of the coffee and the sweet chocolate in this beer are just lovely. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But let's have a go at this one now. So this one is the Beer Geek Brunch from Mikkeller Brewing, San Diego, an Imperial Stout brewed with coffee, 10.9%. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's an amazing beer. There's no doubt in my mind about that. For me, that just really, really hits the spot. Big thumbs up to Mikkeller on this one. You know, I guess this kind of, the Beer Geek series, the Beer Geek ones were the ones that really kind of helped these guys establish. And in a way, I had the Beer Geek Bacon just when I first started the channel. And in a way, I kind of think maybe I wasted that beer because I maybe didn't quite appreciate how good this series was back at that time. But you know, once you get a little bit more experience with these kind of things, you really do start to appreciate how good some of these beers are. That is pretty, you know, in terms of the rating it has on Rate Beer, absolutely deserves it. A 99, it absolutely. The 4+ stars on Untappd, absolutely. It really does deserve that rating. The mouthfeel is just lovely with this beer. It's just got everything you would want from an Imperial Stout. So yeah, as I always say with these dark beers, take a few sips, sugar it around your palate, and let your whole mouth adjust to them before you start analysing the flavour too much. But I will tell you right away, that's a bloody good beer. So with this one, you can feel there is a little touch of a kind of smooth bready quality to this one. The roasted black malts are kind of forming the kind of linchpin of the beer as well. You can feel those pushing their way out as the flavour mellows out a little bit, but there's a lot of chocolate with this one. There's a lot of that nice high cocoa, dark chocolate with this beer. Some nice kind of toasted brown sugars. The brown sugary note, it actually, even though it smelled a little bit more like treacle, it does have a little bit of both. It has a little bit of that darker treacle note, but it's also got some of the lighter kind of sweet caramel to it as well, which is nice. Yeah, I do want to say it almost tastes as if there's a wee bit of a vanilla quality to this beer too. But it's really well done. There's no doubt in my mind about that. In the aftertaste, you've seen how long it was since I've taken a sip of this beer. I'm getting the impression that there's a little bit of a nutty quality to this one, which is quite nice. I don't know if I really want to say hazelnut with this one, but the nutty quality that this beer has is really nice. But the way that everything goes together in this beer is just really, really lovely. You can see why as soon as you taste this beer, you can see exactly why it's so highly rated. It's just really, really well done. So yeah, malt base is where all the complexity is in this one. As I say, you've got that nice, slightly bready-ish backbone to it. Some of the roasted black malts just pushing their way up out of it. You can feel the coffee smoothness there as well. You can feel the coffee smoothness just right in the middle of your palate. But on top of that, initially, you get that nice kind of brown sugary sweetness out the beer, and the chocolate is just kind of sitting in there as well. It's almost like there's a kind of U-shape just inside the edge of your tongue there. You can feel that U-shape, and that's where the chocolatey and kind of brown sugary notes are coming out for me, and the roasted bitterness just pushes its way out in the middle of the palate. So it's kind of interesting, the mouthfeel in this one, because it's slightly different to the other Imperial Stouts that I've had in recent times, but it's just lovely. On the hoppy side of things, it's earthiness. In the back corners of the palate, you've got a good little bit of a kind of earthy, hoppy quality, and as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, it just kind of smooths out a little bit. And you can feel the front corners of the palate, there's maybe just a very light, kind of grassy part to it there, but overall, it's just a nice, smooth, earthy quality to the beer, but it's really, really nicely done, this one. But yeah, I really, really like how this one goes together. Behind the front curve of the tongue, of course, that's where you get that little oily bubble where those nice kind of juicy, fruity notes start to come out of the beer. You can feel there's a little bit of a kind of red, fruity ester to this one, and it's a little bit figgy, I would say. Yeah, I would say it's a kind of figgy, kind of slightly candied fruit aroma. It reminds me a little bit of these Haribo Star Mix shaped sweets that you get, and the little heart-shaped ones, but it's just really nice. Everything in this beer goes together really just so well. I just love this one, you know. I'm going to say that. This is one of my favourite Imperial Stouts, probably, that I've reviewed on the channel. I mean, I'd put this up there with Herr Fredriksson and the Mikkeller Black Hole as well. This one definitely leans a little bit more towards the roasty, toasty side of things in comparison to Black Hole. Black Hole, for me, was quite a sweet Imperial Stout, but this one, in terms of quality, is up there with the Black Hole. It's just kind of at the other end of the spectrum when it comes to the Imperial Stout, a little bit more kind of roasty and toasty. So in terms of the mouthfeel, this one then, definitely a full-bodied beer, there's no doubt in my mind about that. Carbonation is very smooth, it's a big oily mouthfeel that you're getting from this one. Yeah, big oily mouthfeel with this one. The malt base is really well balanced. Like I was saying, it starts off really quite sweet, and then it progresses to be a slightly more kind of roasty bitter thing as you progress into the aftertaste. The sweetness does kind of make a little bit of a recovery, if you like. It starts off sweet, leans a little bit more towards the roasty bitter things, and then it kind of balances itself out a little bit more. There is a good little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one in the back corners of the palate. As I said, when you come further forward, a little bit of that remains, but the hoppy characters just kind of smooth out a little bit, and you've got a nice piece of kind of juicy, fruity character to this one as well, but it's not too much. The fruity notes in this beer are quite mild, I would say. This one's all about the malty base. The coffee smoothness that's in this is really nice as well. You've got a good balance, like I say, between those kind of malty and adjunct flavours and the nice kind of hoppy bitterness as well. It's just such a well-balanced beer, and you know, I'm really glad that I got to try this. As I say, this is one of the best Imperial Stouts I think I've reviewed on the channel. It's definitely up there with the with the Black Hole, which is probably my favourite beer I've reviewed from Mikkeller before, along with the 1000 IBUs. The Black Hole and the 1000 IBU have been my favourite beers from this brewery, and this one is up there as well. Like I say though, it's just at the other end of the spectrum when it comes to the Imperial Stout. It definitely leans more towards that kind of roasty, toasty, bitter type thing rather than the sweetness. But overall, this is a bloody good beer, and I'm glad that I got the chance to review it. And at 10.9% as well, you do get a little bit of alcohol warmth to it, but it's not too kind of pushy when it comes to that. But it's just really, really well done. And it is cool to see that they're brewing beers of this quality at their San Diego site as well. So yeah, a huge thumbs up to Mikkeller for this one, and I'm glad that I got to try it. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out my social media. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the beers that are coming out of the Mikkeller San Diego as well, if they are any different from the Belgian beers that they're brewing. But for me, this one's been really, really good, and I'm glad that I got to try it. So thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. As I say, let me know your thoughts on this beer and your favourite beers from Mikkeller and all of this kind of thing, and I will catch you guys very soon. So this was the Beer Geek Brunch brewed at Mikkeller San Diego over in California in America. A really, really nice Imperial Stout, this one. If you enjoy a nice roasty, toasty coffee bitterness to this beer, to your Imperial Stout, sorry, this is one that is definitely going to hit the spot for you. One of the best Imperial Stouts, I think, that you might find from Denmark, although people might say other ones in the Beer Geek series are better than this, but that's a debate for another day. But thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slanger just now. Skål.